For the longest time now, I've been struggling to really articulate why I have such a dislike for the Astra Militarum. The Astra Militarum, also known as the Imperial Guard by everyone because it's just a better name, is Warhammer 40k's human analogue, the force comprised of the fighting men and women of the Imperium's armed forces. Normal, everyday people like you and me who, when duty calls for them, pick up a lasgun and join the front lines against the galaxy's most horrific and terrifying foes in the name of the Emperor. And that sounds cool. So, why do I have such problems with it? I've been repeatedly trying to explain what it is that I just don't like, and I've always wanted to challenge my opinions to really dig deep into this, and when it comes to something so subjective as your taste in army or models, digging deeper may seem redundant. But as much as a lot of this is essentially subjective taste with no real substance, I find it quite interesting to understand what it is or why it is that I have this taste, to better understand myself and to better explain my thoughts to a wider audience. It's the basic question. Why don't I like the Imperial Guard? Is it that I don't like their models, the aesthetic, the lore, the gameplay, the idea itself? Well, the answer to all those questions is, I guess, yes, kind of. But when I try to dig deeper into why specifically, I run into a problem, because the reasons I don't like the Imperial Guard are the exact same reasons other people love them. And that's fine, right? Like, that's what we mean when we talk about opinions on something being subjective. What you like, what I like are allowed to be different. But when I see the amount of praise and love for what I think is a bit rubbish, I start to ask myself, am I out of touch? Or is it the children that are wrong? I've obsessed over this disdain for the Imperial Guard, trying to find answers that might help me understand myself, and over time I have started to find those answers. But the more I delve into those answers, and the more and more discoveries I make about myself and my thoughts, about who I am and the world itself, those discoveries start to haunt me. I don't like Imperial Guard because I am not. There are a lot of things to like about the Imperial Guard as a player of 40k, especially if you're a 40k player in the real-life military. According to a recent study, over 100% of all active and former military personnel play the Imperial Guard. Being humanity's analog means that they are a relatable force, something you can put yourself in the shoes of. And in those shoes, you can imagine things like a sense of camaraderie, the sense that you're part of the same team, all working as one towards a goal of strengthening numbers and the strengthening togetherness, and that single-minded force able to elevate small fish in this giant cosmic horoscope of an ocean into a leviathan with no equal. All concepts and ideas that no other faction in 40k really represents. Except Tau, and Gene Stealer cults, and Orc. But the fact that they are human also humanizes them. They aren't some unknown weird alien species or a genetically modified super soldier or short. They're just us. They are who we would be in the 41st millennium. Normal, everyday people, the salt of the earth working folk who band together to take on the terrors that befall their homes and families that they want to protect. This is represented well on the tabletop. Units of many cheap models with low toughness and barely any saving throws. Models that can be ripped apart easily by pretty much everyone. But the numbers mean that there's always more meat for the meat grinder. There are a lot of different units representing many different specialities and weaponry at the Imperium's disposal. And there's like a bajillion different tanks, which are just way more useful, so you should just play those. And all of those different things can be put in the Madcase 2.0 for table.stronghold.com. Look, this video is gonna get fucking weird, so it's really now or never for the sponsor time. Sorry, the sponsor time. Anyway, if there's one aspect of humanity I can relate to the most, it's capitalist greed and the pursuit of money. No, wait, I mean, the desire for myself and loved ones to be safe and protected. Sure, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I put my minis and loved ones into my Madcase 2.0. The strong MDF and adjustable trays keep my minis of any size safe, secure, and easier to transport than ever before. Through the power of madness, I don't have to worry about any damage to my models in any situation. Right now, there's 25% off using code PAUL25. And free shipping, as always, to the USA, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and most of the EU. So thank you, Table.Stronghold, for sponsoring. Go to table.stronghold.com or click the link in my description. Now, it's no secret that I've had my struggles in games against the Imperial Guard. Rogal Dawns are nasty in numbers. They have a lot of tricks. Their big 20-man units are deceptively strong with their many weapons and ways to regenerate. And maybe all this hate is based on the fact that I'm salty about losing to guard players all the time. And look, I'm not saying that isn't part of it, I guess, but I lose against World Eaters all the time, and I like World Eaters. I mean, I lose all the time. I've got a terrible win rate, so I lose against pretty much everyone, but no one else annoys me as much as the Imperial Guard. So I actually think maybe the cause and effect is backwards. I think I get more salty against Imperial Guard because I don't like them. Not that I don't like them because they make me salty. So why don't I like them? On the surface, it is, like I say, a simple taste thing. It's like, yeah, I get why a bunch of roided up, rage-fueled, chain axe-wielding insane people beat me, but why is it fair that 20 dudes get to kill me? I should be killing them. But also, when I play RPGs, whether that's a video game or video table, I don't generally go for humans because they seem a bit boring to me. I know in D&D, for example, there's a lot you can do with basic human fighter. I mean, I've played one and I had fun, but I also find that it's more interesting to me to be something more unique and fun and play into that. Why would I want to be a human when I could be a sturdy, long-living dwarf or a literal dragon person or a cute goblin girl? Don't read into that one. When it comes to Warhammer, why would I play basic humans with normal tanks when I could play Centurions? And look, I'm not saying that as a flippant, oh, Paul loves Centurions, he's the 80 Centurion guy. I mean, I do love Centurions, but there's an option for a big, chunky, armored super soldier with rock-crushing drill fists. I know which option I'm taking. I mean, which would you prefer? And if you say you'd rather be a guardsman, you're either lying or stupid. I don't know. I guess let me know in the comments if you would want to be a guardsman. But look, this is all surface level and it's superficial stuff, right? I like playing more weird or abhuman ideas. Others prefer characters and armies that are more grounded. I've not read many 40k books, but some of the coolest parts are seeing the world from the perspective of a guardsman. I've always said that I think an individual guardsman is interesting, whilst the Imperial Guard is not. The human analog is a great way to describe what is happening from a perspective we understand. And in the few books I've read, there's some really good storytelling with that concept. But then I started to try and imagine myself as a guardsman. People talk about the relatability, so surely if I, as a human, put myself in the shoes of a lone guard of the Emperor's finest soldiers, I'd understand. What would happen if I was thrust into the 41st millennium, lasgun in hand, on the front lines against a terrifying, approaching nightmare? That sense of togetherness, of bravery, of the indomitable human spirit, I don't see it. I don't feel like I have it. At least not over the sense that in that situation, I take the easy way out. But look, I'm not the only one, right? I mean, look at stuff like G-Stealer cults, blue-collar folk who band together against their fellow man, either through manipulation, promises of a better life, rebellion against mistreatment from the establishment, or traitor guard, guardsmen working instead for the forces of chaos. Some might be forced into it, sure, but there will be some whose greed or fear or lust for power made them turn their backs on their fellow man and join legions of chaos. So, hey, maybe that's me. Maybe I'm that kind of person. No, that isn't me either. Chaos is never-ending suffering. And I'd never be seen doing manual labor, so the G-Stealer cults are out as well. Every time I imagine myself in situations as a human in the 41st millennium, the ending is always the same. I don't see the camaraderie. I don't feel the indomitable human spirit. All I feel is empty, scared, hopeless. There's a monster coming for me. It's bigger, stronger, faster. It has no remorse, no empathy. All it wants is to kill me in the most brutal way imaginable. And that's the best case scenario. It could break my mind after breaking my body, leaving me in perpetual, never-ending pain and terror. It could delight in devouring me alive, crushing my bones as I'm slowly ripped apart, painfully and torturously. It could end up being the first of many dates with my new Drukhari girlfriend, which is probably the worst outcome of the three. So what's the point in fighting? Like, best case, I die. In worst case, I die eventually. So, the easy way out. That lack of human spirit, what does that mean for me? Is there something I'm meant to feel? Meant to feel? Do I actually relate to my fellow man? Did I ever? Or have I lost it through this animated VTuber persona? Has it taken over to the point that all I am is a 2D representation of what a human might be? A facsimile of humanity with none of the substance? Have I become nothing? Have I become so jaded? 34-year-old man complaining about a specific set of toy soldiers he finds on the internet after losing an 11-year-long test in order to hold on to a vague sense of control over his life? Did I lose control? Did I ever have? Did I lose my sense of self? My being? My humanity? It's the reason I don't like Imperial Guard, because I'm not human. Okay, that's all ridiculous, right? I am human. I am a person, and I feel like I'm a good person. But would a good person really do that? Would they abandon their people in their time of need? I'm not exactly brave. I'm anxious. I'm shy. I'm bold. I find it easier to express myself to others as a stick figure on the internet than in reality. And yeah, I'm kind of cowardly, I guess. I avoid confrontation as much as possible, and I'd rather do everything in my power to avoid something than tackle it head on. If someone gets my food order wrong, or it's a bit cold, I'd rather just deal with it and not cause a fuss to avoid feeling like I'm bothering someone or burdening someone with my problems. But those are relatable feelings. Those are also human. So I am being ridiculous. I'm not a human. I am a human. I am a person. I'm just a fucking coward. The reason I don't like the Imperial Guard is that I'm a coward. But that doesn't sound right either. Because I guarantee there's a lot of you out there that are on my side. When push comes to shove and you're in the 41st millennium, you're staring down the most mind-shattering abomination you've ever seen, you're coming with me through the easy exit. I don't like Imperial Guard. Not because I'm scared, but because they aren't. Like I said, I've not read much into the lore, so I imagine that the idea of the Imperial Guard I have in my head probably matches what is represented. This is just my take, and it's a shallow, uneducated opinion of one guy trying to find out why they don't like a thing, but an opinion that I think is at least interesting. I believe that people's opinions have value, even if they aren't an expert. In the realms of subjective opinion in a game about toy soldiers and no further, Jesus fucking Christ, don't take that line out of context. Because it's in those immediate and initial thoughts that you have before you research something that you can learn stuff about yourself and about why you react in such a way to certain ideas. The Imperial Guard, in my mind, is not the indomitable human spirit. It's not the Emperor's finest battling against the odds versus the galaxy's most heinous foes. The Imperial Guard is humanity's fear and desperation made manifest. It's the physical representation of the law of averages. The majority of the troops will probably just curl up in terror or retreat or shit themselves in abject fear at the first sight of the enemy. And out of the remaining minority, most will either miss every shot or have their equipment break or die before they get a chance. And that remaining small finite percentage, they're the ones that you see in the stories. They are the interesting ones. They are the Emperor's finest. The few who represent the indomitable human spirit. They are the ones who did not break before Cadia did. And that is compelling to me. That would make me so much more interested in the Imperial Guard. And in fact, that is what I like about the Guard, because there's so much cool storytelling and world building within that idea. And if that is the lore, which I believe it is, then awesome. The problem is, I'm not actually that big into the lore. So that leaves the hobby in the game. The hobby stuff is purely superficial. There's not really much to read into there. But the actual game of 40k, it doesn't feel like that's represented properly, and it makes it so... Oh my god. It's just clicked. I get it now. Literally, it's just clicked. Yeah, I had a whole section in this script about the Guard's rules and how it didn't really represent what I thought the Guard should be. Talking about stuff like the fact that the leadership's 7+, or all the special weapons you can get, or all the buffs that make those few regular dudes feel insane or way above like basic humans, or all of the tanks you have access to. Things that didn't give enough room to represent that fearful horde being sent into the meat grinder and then being able to exemplify those special few. And how having rules around stuff like sending in multiple waves might be more interesting for the Guard. Stuff like how Genes of the Cult work, or the most recent preview of the Poxwalker Death Guard detachment. But just now, literally just now, Oh, it just hit me. When you play Imperial Guard on the tabletop, this is not your army. This is. The units and characters, vehicles, detachments, and armor rules, they aren't designed to represent the Imperial Guard. They aren't there to represent the entire force of Guardsmen. And so obviously there aren't any mechanisms to represent that brave few amongst the many, because your units and rules are the brave few. Those 20 Cadians, they aren't just 20 Cadians. They're dozens of Cadians, hundreds of Cadians. The 20 are just the ones that are competent, brave, and equipped enough to do anything. That Sentinel squad, there's actually many more, but half of them are broken, or the driver has fled, or died, or simply doesn't know how it works. They've just been thrown in at the deep end. But the 1 or 2 on the table, those are the ones that mean something. Those 6 Rogal Dawns, they're probably just 6 Rogal Dawns, because Rogal Dawn's actually pretty good, so... But you get my point, right? It's so clear to me now. I'm not represented on the board in Imperial Guard army. I'm that guy. I'm Cadian number 33 who evacuated his bowels before having a delicious meal of extremely spicy lead, and I've never been happy to realize that. Don't correct me on the fact that lasguns probably don't fire lead. I was just writing a joke about... Anyway. Oh my god, the Astra Militarum, it makes sense now. My eyes are open, and I can't unsee that truth anymore. I do like the Imperial Guard. Yeah. I like the Imperial Guard. It's just a shame I still don't like the way their models look, so I have no desire to collect or paint them. Ha! Suck it, Astra Miller dumbasses! Imperial Guard still suck, and I'm always right! Woo! Thanks for watching this descent into madness. If you somehow like this video, then like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Imperial Guard, what you think about my weird opinions, and if you really liked it, you should become a member or patron like all of these brave few. Your support means the world to me and gets you access to the super secret supporters club, where I tell you I'm fine. I promise it's just a video. I'm not going crazy. You're crazy. Why are you here? Get out of my house!